right from the get-go, I think, as a person who loves stories and loves telling stories, I was often moved by the underdog characters. I've often taken by, the characters that were a bit more imperfect. I liked my heroes or anti-heroes, so to speak, a bit more layered in that sense, a bit imperfect, a bit broken, a bit more nuanced in that sense. And I think I always gravitated since as a kid, to that anti-hero model. I think it was maybe me also partially imprinting on these characters and these heroes that I seen and watched when I grew up, and me wanting to tell that story for a new generation. I was very moved about, like, you didn't have to be this perfect character to be a hero. You could be flawed, you could be broken, but yet it's your strength, your resilience, and all that. So a lot of that, those greater themes actually went into our very early world building concepts. Like, when we pivoted, we may play in genres that are science fiction, paranormal, normal drama, or rom-coms, but through and through, we always looked at our characters, and how they sat in it, and how these protagonists, so to speak, interacted, and how they behaved in these worlds. So in creating those worlds, I always said, like, let's look at the imperfections of it, and even that kind of facilitated, that kind of also lend itself towards how we produce things. I wanted it to have a certain nuance or a certain anchor in realism, certain anchor in real people that I've met, interacted. They may not be the most perfect people, they may not be your classic template people, like they dictate like how a character should behave. And I love that. I loved, all these little anomalies that came into my life, interactions and people. And I used that, a lot of things that I took from real world, I kind of put it into my fictional world and just amped it up, and portrayed it for entertainment purposes, I guess, in very fictionalized characters, but yet they brought very real notes to it. And that has been through and through in all our projects, actually, that we put forth for broadcast and things like that. And it's also how we approach even our non-fictional works. What we do into that is to really look at the person, look at the character, look at this protagonist, so to speak, even in a documentary, like an interview setup. We do lots of docus and interviews, and in that also, I look at the person as like, okay, you are the protagonist. Okay, now tell me your story. What is it going to be? And the ebbs and flows of it, the inconsistencies, the imperfections, I use that, I take it in, and we kind of put that into our works. We try to surface that sometimes, and bring those characteristics into, be it our fictional work or our non-fictional work.